What really happened against the New York Knicks as the Celtics collapsed in game one? It was not just three-pointers and shot selection. We'll talk about it right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Yup. Being down, be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Back to back, if I say it, it's stamped. Locked on number 19, the best one, the next one. Juice loose in your pool now for the next run. It's the C's, who else could it be? What they gon' say now? Screaming like JT Karalis, recap the madness every game, every practice. Best daily pod, no cap like Brad Beckett. Clutch like Drew to KP, tap in daily. Prime time dapping D White on the sideline. Raining Jace, how it started, raising business, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. I got you covered every Monday through Friday. Bonus podcasts when they play on the weekends. They're playing on the weekend here. So I will be here in New York City when they get to New York City. So subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Watch the show on YouTube. Get into the comments section. Lots of Knicks fans feeling themselves in the comment section. So hop in there. You got to show out, and you got to let people know that it was one game. So don't worry about it too much. I'm John Karalis. I'm covering the Celtics for Boston Sports Journal. I've been covering the Celtics for about 20 years now. So go check my work out there. Buy the books that I've written about the Celtics, and let's just enjoy ourselves. Let's enjoy ourselves with Tom Westerholm today. Tom, how you doing, my man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Feeling good. You know, I still feeling okay after game one. At least the Celtics are not the Cavs, and hopefully they don't become the Cavs.
It could be so much worse, and that is presumably precisely what Joe Mazzulla is telling everyone. Like, hey, like it could be worse, and you have to make sure that it isn't worse.
Yes.
And that starts at 7 p.m. tomorrow. So, today when people are listening to this. So, yeah, do not let this get worse, because it could be.
I kind of asked him about that. I went in a roundabout way, because Joe is not going to be like, oh, yeah, I showed these guys the Pacers beating the Cavs and be like, don't do this. But it's like, hey, do you like pay attention to these other series? Do you show them, be like, hey, look at this. You can't do what these guys did. And he kind of said, like, yes. In a way. So I'm sure. And look, the Knicks, I mean, the Cavs were missing some guys and all of that stuff. But like, the
Celtics are too, though.
The Celtics are too.
Yeah.
And so as we get into the Celtics Knicks game, what really happened in game one, and we take the lessons, like, first of all, like, there's luck, there's injury luck. You need things to break your way. Like, I think the Cavs and the Cavs can come back and win the next 4 games. So I'm not writing them off. I'm not saying they're done.
Right, for sure.
Pacers are dangerous, all of that stuff. But you need things to break your way. You need some luck to break your way. The Celtics need some things to break their way too. And part of what happened at the end of game one, as I rewatch, it's like, it's not just the shot selection. It's not just the fact that they shot 1 million three-pointers and missed 1 million three-pointers. There's some luck. There's some defensive mistakes. There's some bad execution all over. And we're going to talk about all of that stuff. I think when we focus on just the three-point shooting, because that's the obvious thing, we all saw it. They shot 1 million. They shot 60 of them and hit 15? So you miss 45 3-pointers, and that's like the big shiny object. We're going to focus on that. I focused on that in the last show. We all do it. But if you look a little deeper, why did this all happen? You're letting the Celtics off the hook, I think, a little bit for their defensive mistakes. And some of that comes off of when you miss that many shots, you're giving a lot of long rebounds, and you're giving the Knicks a lot of opportunity to run and score. And so you've got to make sure you're making your shots. That's all part of everything. But the Celtics also, I think, made some defensive mistakes, Tom, that part of the collapse is not scoring, but part of it is also allowing them to score.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and I think one perfect example of that, right, is like when you go up by 20 and then you just immediately give up 2 threes to OG Anunoby. And it's like that was like kill time. You know what I mean? Like that's like a moment to just like get a couple stops, put the game away. That's it. That is your moment to just step on the Knicks, say, listen, we've missed a lot of threes. And I know you've done a lot of research here on the second half and all that, but I think that as like just kind of like a perfect emblematic moment of like that was your chance to like say like, listen, we've missed a lot of threes and it doesn't matter. You know, like this is just like the 4th regular season game against you guys where you guys needed it and we didn't and we won anyway. It's like the perfect opportunity to have that. Like this has been our missed threes game. This has been our one of my the concussion game, as online fans like to say. Like this has been the opportunity to steal one, and you didn't do it. That opportunity was there if OG Anunoby doesn't hit those 2 threes. If you don't gotta give up that in that moment, because that felt like it turned the game just right there, right? Like the Knicks have a little momentum, a little confidence. The game's all of a sudden like, okay, it's not quite over yet. You know, Knicks, let's make a little push here. That felt like a big one to me.
Yeah, but I think, and I will have, by the time people listen to this, it will either publish soon or it will be publishing at some point here on Boston Sports Journal, a big, extensive look at what happened. So this kind of goes in conjunction with that. The Celtics defensively allowed in the third quarter 4 open 3-pointers, 3 wide open 3-pointers. In the fourth quarter, 5 open 3-pointers, 5 wide open 3-pointers. In fact, of all of the 3-pointers the Knicks took in the entire second half, only 2 were tightly contested. So, and that's according to NBA tracking data. So there might be a little bit of variance in that. But everybody was getting kind of good looks from 3. The Celtics, I think, by missing shots, they allowed a lot in transition. But also, I think in the half court, they kind of, I think they've just lost a little focus. Like Jalen talked about playing with poise, and I think he was talking about mostly the shot selection himself. But you have to, even if you're not making your shots, you have to get back and you have to defend and you have to make sure you're not losing. The Celtics overhelped on a couple of occasions and gave up shots. Celtics did not recognize certain things and gave up opportunities that would have been not necessarily contested shots. They gave up contested shots when it could have been being there on the catch, like that kind of stuff. So I think we can't just overlook the defensive mistakes. I'm probably going out of order here on my rundown, but I feel like the Celtics could have done better. They gave up 100 points, which is fine, right? When we look at it objectively, you give up 100 points to the Knicks, that should be fine. But it easily could have been 90. It easily could have been maybe even less by just playing a little bit tighter, a little bit better defensively. So that, I think, plays into it. There's also make-miss stuff too, because I just read out the stats about the shots that they allowed, but what about the shots that were made? I'll come back. I'll read the stats of the open and wide open 3-pointers and Joe Mazzulla's quote. He was a little snarky at practice on Tuesday. We'll do that in just a second. Today's show is brought to you by OpenPhone. If you are running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time you had an urgent need, maybe for a plumber or a service provider. If the first person didn't answer, did you wait? Probably not. You moved on. That's why you need OpenPhone. OpenPhone is the #1 business phone system built to streamline and scale your customer communications, all from an app on your phone or your computer. Open Phone lets you manage business calls and texts from a single app. The shared inbox feature is a game changer. Your team can jump into any conversation instantly without missing a beat. And their AI agent handles after hours calls, answers common questions, and captures leads so you never miss a customer. Open Phone is offering my listeners, all of you, if you're running a business, you can get 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/lockedonnba. That's openphone.com/lockedonnba. If you have existing numbers with another service, Open Phone will port them over at no extra charge. Open Phone, no missed calls, no missed customers. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Make sure you're checking out Locked On NBA Game Night. They will have that Pacers game covered and the Warriors and Timberwolves covered as well. So make sure you're checking that out. I'm on Game Night on Fridays. It's a 7-night a week podcast. You can find it on the Locked On NBA feed. All right, Tom. The make miss portion of this is a big part of it, because in the third quarter, the Celtics did okay, right? 5 of 10 on open shots, which is a defender within 4 to 6 feet, and not so great on wide open shots, which is, this is the killer, 2 of 9. The Knicks were 2 of 4 on open shots, 3 of 3. So overall, the Celtics were 7 of 19, and the Knicks were 5 of 7. In the third quarter. The fourth quarter, when things started to pull away, open shots 4 to 6 feet, 0 for 9 for Boston. Knicks were 3 of 5. Wide open shots 2 of 5, okay, 40%. The Knicks were 3 of 5. So on open to wide open shots in the fourth quarter, the Knicks 6 of 10, the Celtics 2 of 14. You can look no further than those numbers. Because as much as you can say the shot selection was not great, and we can absolutely have that conversation, but just in the raw numbers, those are shots. And Joe Mazzulla, when he was talking about the Knicks shot 50% in the second half, he's like, oh, so they made them. What a novel idea. That's a novel concept. Just make them when you're open. He protecting his team, but was like, hey, you make your open shots. This is an entirely different conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it there, right? Like protecting his team a little bit. I think that there's a fair amount there of just kind of like take the heat off them a little bit, take the, just just made shots. That's all we had to do. Like, sure, Joe, that's true. The fact is, like, shooting is confidence. Shooting is a matter of shooting momentum. Absolutely matters in shooting, right? Like, you miss a couple. It's like you talk about getting to the rim 1 or 2 times and see the ball go through, right? Like, that's a very common thing. Everybody talks about that. Coaches talk about that. Players talk about that. You see the ball go through, and then it just makes it easier to see the ball go through down the line, right? And I think that's where, the make miss stuff versus you took too many threes. It's not that they took too many threes. It's not even that they took bad threes. Like you said, a lot of these were wide open. It's just the fact that, like, there's also a lot of beatable guys on this Knicks team that, like, you can get by them and you can create an easy shot that then, hey, like, what was one of the, like, you can count on, well, that's not quite true, but you feel like you can count on one hand the Celtics 3-pointers, and that's why that they made, and that's why they're so memorable. Like, the Derrick White 3, where the Celtics actually drove into the paint and collapsed the paint and kicked it out, and he hit the 3. And it's like, you generate them. Like, that's your whole thing, guys. You've done this all season, and that's what was missing, right? So, I mean, for sure, there's a make-miss element here where literally if they missed 44 threes and made 16, then the game doesn't go to overtime, right? So, like, for sure, there's a make-miss element to this too. But I think where Mazzulla is probably protecting his team, and maybe the team could do better next time, would be, you're playing the Knicks. There are multiple guys on this team who, for your slashers and your drivers, are just literally target practice. Like, go at those guys, draw another foul, get Cat out of the game. a little bit earlier, so he can't get that putback. That was very costly down the stretch. Like, like just myriad. I could get Mitchell Robinson back in the game. You can get him back to the free throw line. It's all myriad options here. That if you take the ball to the hoop once or twice, and like, but that said, I mean, this is why I think, before game one, you and I were talking about like, oh, how could the Knicks win? And it was like, well, okay, I mean, like outlier shooting, obviously, and like a couple injuries, obviously. And it's like, oh, yeah, that's precisely what happened in game one. Outlier shooting and a couple guys sat out. So like, I think that's the make miss element is why you look at that game and you say, all right. I mean, if it happens again, then it's very concerning. But like, as of right now, you're kind of like, all right, I mean, what happens when the Celtics don't miss a historic number of 3-pointers? Like, let's see what that looks like. Maybe
missing 45 3-pointers is probably not advisable for the Celtics.
You're going to lose so many games when you miss.
If you miss 45 3-pointers, you're going to miss a lot.
You're going to lose.
You're going to lose a lot. But at the surface, I think not only is it just you make a couple more, you add 6 points and it's 106-100 and you go home and it's done. But there are a couple of times where it was right after the Celtics built that 75-55 lead. Jalen gets a wide open 3-pointer. Up fake. Bridges goes by him, I think.
Yeah, yep.
Little dribble, rhythm dribble. Perfect. Rises up, just leaves it just short. It was online, leaves it short. They get the rebound, boom, come down. I think Anunoby hits a wide open 3-pointer. So wide open miss, wide open make. Instead of the Celtics going up, I think it was like they needed to go back up 20 if they hit that. Instead, it's like a 14-point game, 6-point swing. But in that is the debate of like, well, if you look at that play, Bridges had flown by. Mitchell Robinson is in the paint. He's got Luke Cornett on his back. He's boxing out looking for the shot. You say, well, there's like, you can drive a truck, like a literal truck in that space to the rim, draw Robinson over and like wrap around to Luke, lob to Luke. And this is where you have the debate. Knowing that, now this particular play is a little bit more hindsight, but you say you just need to get some points. You just need to score. Maybe you drive that. Maybe you attack and maybe Robinson draws a foul. Maybe this, maybe that. But also, just hit the shot. Just hit that shot because you were online. It was right there. You just a little bit more on it. It goes over to the front of the rim, and it's a different story. So the
probably a different next possession. It's a different feel down the stretch. Yeah,
it's a whole butterfly effect, and that's the whole thing. Where the shots that they took, there's a lot that's debatable. And we can get into this debate when we come back. But you can make it at the simplest part of this is you're a professional basketball player. You're paid a ton of money. Make those shots. They're warm-up shots. And it's not always going to happen, right? People are going to miss, but everything could have gone exactly the same. They could have taken all the exact same shots. Even in a weird, like we can kind of maneuver the universe where even if a shot falls in, the next thing that happens for New York still happens.
Right.
You know, Jalen hits that shot, but OG Anunoby comes down and hits a 3. You haven't lost any points there.
Yeah.
If you just make the shots, you're going to win this game. And then you can go the next domino of like, you make that shot, then then OG does not even get that particular shot. Maybe that becomes something else. Maybe it becomes a 2. Maybe it becomes a turnover or a miss. And so then you keep going. Let's get into this debate about some of the shots that are good shots, good looks, but should they have been the shots that they took? We'll take that when we come back. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Make sure that you are listening to Locked On Knicks because you want to get the other side. You want to get the opponent's perspective on everything that's happening. So make sure that you are listening to the opponents. Make sure you're listening to look, if you want to get the Cavs perspective, you want to get the Pacers perspective on what's been happening, there's a lockdown for everybody. So make sure you're checking those shows out. Okay. So
Locked on Cavs might be a might be an interesting listen for sure. Be a tough one.
Yeah. The Cavs are down 0-2 to the Pacers.
0-2, dog.
0-2. Now, again, they had guys out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
But you're still down 0-2.
Well, and I mean, the circumstances at the end of that game were genuinely unbelievable. But
yes. I mean, they missed all those guys, and they still gave up an offensive rebound on a free throw and a 3-pointer. So you still should have won that game. So anyway, yeah.
I would hope that of the guys who were available, a couple of them could inbound the ball. Like just ball inbounds. You'd be all right.
Anyway, listen to Locked On Cavs. It'll be a fun one. So,
also, I love the Pacers. I love them. They're so much fun.
I know. They're right up your alley.
Oh, they're just chaos. Everything. Yeah. It's beautiful. Beautiful basketball.
So, the Celtics, they had some bad execution. Let me touch on this first. The Celtics had a few turnovers. They had 6 turnovers the rest of the way after they got up 20. 4 of them came in regulation. One of them was an offensive foul, illegal screen, Luke Cornett, which, by the way, weird illegal screen. He was kind of like getting out of the way, but Mikal Bridges was also getting out of the way.
Yeah.
And was like, they kind of ran into each other. I didn't really like that call. But a common theme in those turnovers was that they all came on drives. They were all attacking the rim, and one was Peyton Pritchard trying to attack the rim, got caught too deep, turned the ball over. Brunson comes down, hits a 3. Drew Holiday trying to drive, turns the ball over. Jayson Tatum trying to drive, kicks it back out, turns the ball over, comes down, it's a dunk. So I'm not trying to be a jerk here. Yeah. And one of the 5th turnover was in overtime on a drive that it came down. I think it was points. And then the last turnover was the ripping the ball away from Jalen on the last second shot. That doesn't really matter.
Right.
I'm not trying to be a jerk here because I agree that they should have attacked more. Everybody agrees they should have attacked more. But I do want to point out that the few times that they attacked, they screwed it up.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, you should attack and not screw it up.
Yeah.
I definitely need to point out that the Celtics did try to drive a few times. And in the last 3.5 minutes, they finally turned it around. They erased the 7-point lead. It was great. But there were a lot of times in the last quarter and a half before overtime that the Celtics tried to drive and they turned the ball over. It looked bad. And just drive more. It didn't exactly work that way in reality.
Yeah, look, I'll say it. I thought the Celtics did not play a good basketball game. I'm a brave person, but I will be the one to say that I don't think that the Celtics played well at all. I'll go even farther. I don't think the Celtics deserved to win that game. Not one bit.
Right. When they were up 20, I tweeted out they're shooting terribly. They got literally 0 from Kristaps Porzingis, and they're up 20. I was crapping on the Knicks. I'm like, how are the Celtics playing like this up 20 on the Knicks?
Which I kind of stand by. How were the Celtics playing like that and up 20 on the Knicks?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
Absolutely. No, you know what? We are going to stand on that, man, because that's true. The Celtics were playing. They did not play a good basketball game.
No,
it's not like they built a 20-point lead on good stuff. It was just more balanced stuff, and the Knicks were terrible at stopping it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think, I mean, look, and this is the problem for the Celtics, right? Is that by putting together that game, by having that game, they have now given themselves zero wiggle room, right? So and that might be fine. You go out, you win the next 2 games, you're fine. You are fine.
Yeah.
You just win the next 2 games, you're good. But you've given you've handed over your wiggle room, and now you have to win. If you have another bad shooting night in the next 3 games, it's a 2-2 series, and now it's best of 3, and that's it's uncomfortable at best.
Exactly.
At best, it's uncomfortable, right? In a series against a team where in the playoffs everything is about mismatches, and you have 2 of them, and you swept them in the regular season, you're in an uncomfortable series that you didn't need to be in, right? I think that's the problem here. On paper, everything still applies, right?
That's right.
It's all still there. It's all, you just gotta do it. And that comes down to, I think, to your point earlier, right? It just comes down to making the shots. These are shots. You have to make them. You have to. You don't even have to make that many of them. You just have to make more than 15 if you shoot 60. That really is what it comes down to, and you'll be fine.
That's right. They'll be fine.
Well, if they make more than 15 shots. Let's be clear. If they do that again, they're in trouble.
So the point of this entire podcast is to be it's not just that they shot 63 pointers,
right?
Which is the narrative that's out there. The Celtics shot 63 pointers. It's stupid that they shot that, which is true. But also, look at the nuance here. They also, on top of that, didn't play the best defense. They also, on top of that, didn't execute their offense in general the best. They also turned the ball over. They also had bad luck. They had some bad luck. There was a play where, I forget at what point it was, but the Celtics had missed, of course. Derrick White comes down, tips the ball away from Mikal Bridges. Tatum swipes at it. It goes off his hand. It goes off Peyton Pritchard's hand. It's like the comedy sitcom, like a bullet that ricochets, pa-choom, pa-choom. Everybody's looking at it this way, that way. And it falls into New York's hands, and they hit a shot. And it's Derrick just made this awesome hustle play. The Celtics did everything right. On offense, they did everything right. They just missed the shot. On defense, Derrick White comes back and tips the ball away. It tips off of 2 Celtics. The Knicks miraculously get possession, and the Celtics lose track of OG Anunoby, and he hits an above the break 3. He's wide open because no one was anticipating that, and bad luck. That's also part of it. But the debate becomes between the Mazzulla ball practitioners. If you got a good look from 3, you take it. And the theory, and I'm somewhere in the middle here, of it's the 4th quarter, and I say this a million times. You're up in the 4th quarter, you just make buckets. Just as long as you score any buckets, you're probably going to be okay, because any makes that you score, you set your defense, the other team, even if the other team scores, they're not putting a run together. It's just trading baskets, and it's okay to trade baskets with a lead because you're going to win. So the debate, Tom, is take that open 3, which the numbers in the long run say it works out. But in a playoff series, this is where I change my tune a little bit and say, dude, it's 86-83, Derrick White. You got an open corner 3-pointer with 20 seconds on the shot clock. Take the 3-pointer. Yeah, it's a shot you can make. But also, if you drive it, there's nobody there. And you got Drew Holiday on the other side and Jaylen Brown on the other side. If you drive it, they can cut and you can give it to them for maybe a dunk. And it's all theoretical, but it's just put a little pressure on the other team and score.
Well, and I think, we've gone 29 minutes without saying this expressly, but I think to me, That's why the biggest culprit, the most culpable player here is Tatum, right? Where it's like, because you look around the rest of these guys, right? It's like, okay, if Derrick White's role a lot of times is to shoot threes. Like, yes, he attacks closeouts and all that stuff, and he does it really, really well. Yes, he kind of, jump starts the offense, he facilitates all that kind of stuff. But like, especially, and I mean, Jalen too, to an extent, but I mean, Tatum, missed 15 of them, I think. He shot 15 of them. That's a lot of misses.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
That's it's a
ton
lot
of misses, and some ugly ones that he's just like hucking at the rim. And it's like, like everybody else, right? Drew Holiday has been put out. Al Horford, these guys are out there. Sure, if you get something else, that's great. But your primary offensive role is like to space the floor and to then operate off of that. And all these guys are immensely skilled. Drew Holiday can get to the rim. Derrick White can get to the rim. But the number one thing you're out there for is to make things easier for Jayson Tatum. Jayson Tatum's job is to do more than just huck threes, to me. Like, and that's not to say he shouldn't shoot threes. He should shoot a lot of threes. He's on the Boston Celtics in 2025. Yeah. He should shoot threes.
15.
But 15, especially when you get into that fourth quarter and you've missed a ton of them, you obviously don't have any rhythm. You don't have, like, it's not like you saw a layup go in and now you're attempting another three. No, you just saw two other threes miss badly and now you're shooting a third one. Like, that's where I start to get like, let's think about this a little bit. I think that's where I'm with you on the middle ground of like, no, absolutely. Your whole thing is built around shooting threes and you've won a championship off it that you are now defending. Totally shoot threes. Not a problem. But like Tatum especially, I think that's where he's got to kind of maybe adjust a little bit.
I think sometimes Tatum is like me playing golf. You just a bunch of ugly misses, then you hit two beautiful shots, and you're like, "Oh, buddy, I got this." And then you have a bunch of ugly misses after that. Yeah. Except it doesn't matter if I shoot 112 on a golf course. It does matter if you shoot 4 or 15 from 3 in a playoff game. And I do think that Tatum has, like, there is a limit, and you do have to have, like, Tatum has been great. Let me just say this. Tatum has been great. He's coming off a playoff series where he averaged over 30 points, and he was awesome against Orlando. And he's played like an MVP for most of the second half of the season. So I want to be clear that he has been great. But the one thing that I wish he had was a little bit more self-awareness about what he is as a three-point shooter, which is slightly above average, I think, at best.
Well, yeah, and I think you're right about the self-awareness thing, right? Because yesterday he said, well, I think there's shots that are good shots for me, but I'm paraphrasing. I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but something to the effect of like, well, yeah, I mean, I think, there's shots that are good shots for me that might not be good shots for other people. And it's like, that is true.
Yeah.
But I don't know that those are threes.
They're not free. There's like the Tatum is great, but the 3-point volume, I think he either fixed the 3-point volume or attack. And like later in the game, the most damning thing when it comes to Tatum is later in the game, he actually did turn the corner on some of these guys. Like you look at the third quarter, fourth quarter, and you say, okay, he's not turning the corner. They were kind of sort of helping. They were kind of hedging over. They were trying to pack the paint. But then in the last 3.5 minutes of regulation, that's where the Celtics turned it up, erased the 7-point lead, got this thing. And again, after that point, they won the last 8.5 minutes or so by 3 points. That's when they had an even 7-7 split between 2s and 3s. Tatum was turning the corner. Jalen was getting to the rim. They were getting to the free throw line.
Yeah.
It was there. Now, I don't know. Were they tired? I don't know what. I don't know what it was, but Tatum should not be taking 14 3-pointers.
It just looked like he was going for kill shots. I don't think they were tired.
That was my big takeaway from yesterday.
It just kind of looked like he was trying to end it and like then kept trying to end it. And eventually like he did, but the opposite way. Like, yeah, I think that it's just and you're right? Like Tatum is coming off an MVP type series, but that's why we have such high expectations of him that when things go this poorly in game 1 against the
Yeah.
Knicks, you're like, no, Tatum, you needed to be better. And like the reason you needed to be better is because we've seen you be so much better. We've seen you be an MVP caliber player. So you need to do that.
But also, Derrick White should not be taking 16 3-pointers. I mean, I don't think anybody, maybe I'm old, 16 3-pointers, 15 3-pointers, that is so many. That is so many. You know, Jaylen Brown should not be taking 10.
Jaylen Brown should not be. Well, I mean, Jaylen, again, that's context dependent. If Jaylen Brown is 6 of 10, if he's been hitting some, sure. Jaylen Brown should not miss that many. There's just no game where Jaylen Brown should miss that many threes.
And so the debate, this is when you have a look, right? Understand who you are. And this is the toughest part for a guy. Like, you're supposed to have a tremendous ego to be as good as Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum. You're supposed to believe that you can do anything, but also you have shot 34.3% on 10 3-pointers, Jayson Tatum, below league average. Jaylen Brown is shooting 32.4%. He shot 32.4% in the regular season. Those are bad. That's bad. That's not what you want. Jaylen that's his worst 3-point shooting season of his career.
Yeah. And I mean, he made a lot against the Magic, so that there was probably some measure of like water returning to its level a little bit, but
sure, but like water doesn't have to return to its level all in one shot. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just understand, man. Just understand, like, if you find yourself shooting that many 3-pointers, like, just it's not coming back. You can believe all you want that it's coming back. But you know what? I can sit there at the freaking blackjack table and believe all I want. That
visualize it.
It's coming. It's coming. I can feel it, man. I'm reading the cards. I'm playing the right way. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. And you know what's going to end up happening? I lose $500. I'm like, oh crap. I got to write another book because I'm going broke over here, man, because I believe. Like, you can believe all you want, and you're supposed to have that confidence in the shot, but doesn't mean you have to take every single one.
Right.
You got Mitchell Robinson on you, Jayson. Take him to the hole and draw help, and then kick. The Celtics were successful on 3-pointers when they drew and kick. I mean, you tell me, man, you're a shooter. We're going way over, but you're a shooter. I think catching on a swing, turning and facing allows for a little bit more variation in the shot than kicking straight out, catch, shoot. You're on line. You're standing there. It's right in your pocket. You don't have to turn your shoulders. You don't have to turn nothing. You just catch it, rise up and shoot. When you're on the wing and you got to turn, you have to then square. It's just that one extra little step where if you drive and kick out to a shooter, you catch it and you fire it, and it's just more natural that way. Just do that a little bit more. It's the Knicks. If this was the Thunder, different story. Yeah. It's the Knicks, man. We know what you can do. You don't have to fire that many threes.
Yeah, for sure. Also, 2 things about that. One, I'm the wrong person to ask because it's unbelievable how hypocritical I've been this entire podcast, because I also would just keep hoisting them, pretty sure the next one was going in. So I'm a complete hypocrite here. Also, my favorite threes are the ones where somebody dribbles it to the free throw line, roughly, not like get all the way to the paint. When they get to the free throw line and then they make that triangular pass to the above the break. That's like, for some reason, that just hits you right in the shooting pocket the right way.
Yeah.
Your hands are in the right spot. It's not some crazy like cross court pass, nothing like that. It's just like boom, bang. Yep. That's
all right. So we agree. We all agree.
Free throw line and pass more.
Too many threes. Too many threes. It wasn't just the threes, but there's make miss, but also when you're missing this much, and look, I'm 100% with you on the confidence. You got to keep shooting. But you also have to understand who's in front of you. And you also, you can have confidence in other things.
Yeah.
Your confidence isn't just in your shot. Why not have confidence in your drive? Why not have confidence that you can drive past Karl-Anthony Towns?
Yes.
Where's that confidence?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Where's the confidence in finding a teammate? You know, you can have all the confidence in the world in your jump shot, but have confidence in other elements of your game. Yeah. All right. 40 minutes is too long for a podcast nowadays, I've been told. So I got to wrap it up. Tom, thank you so much.
Appreciate you, man.
For hopping on. I do appreciate Tom. I appreciate you. If you're an everydayer with me Monday through Friday, thank you so much. If you're still with me at 40 minutes in the podcast, thank you, especially because I know that after a while, people go like, okay, John, shut up. It's like, stop taking threes. John, stop trying to make a point. Same concept. So I'm going to stop right now. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for getting into that comment section. Fight all those Knicks fans and share the podcast. Tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.